Hello everyone, Care Bear here to share with you a pair of socks, my latest finished object. I am on a sock challenge until the end of 2026, and the challenge for myself is to make the same design until the end of the year, because I often find a pattern, I love it, and I make it for myself and my sister-in-laws and for another friend, and I repeat the pattern. I'm not doing that with socks. I am challenging myself not to repeat. So if you have some great sock patterns, please share with me. These are the Austin socks, and it is my first time that I have knit a design by the Crazy Sock Lady Designs. So let me tell you a little bit about these socks. I was searching on Ravelry and I found a pattern that was for DK weight socks. And the yarn that I had, this yarn here, was a self-striping yarn. And when I first looked at it, because a friend had picked this up at a thrift shop, and when I looked at it, I thought, oh, it looks like a DK weight. So I'm going to make socks out of that. And I found this DK weight pattern for socks, and I started knitting. And as I was working with, I'm like, I think this is DK weight. And I wonder if this is a self-striping sock yarn. So I then thought, and I mentioned that to my husband, and he said, well, why don't you take a picture of it and put it through AI? I'm the techie in the family, and I didn't think of that. So I was like, oh my gosh, what a great idea. So I did that, and the information I got back was absolutely brilliant. It recognized that there was a bit of a haze to the yarn, and it said it likely has wool in it, and it looks like it is self-striping, so it likely is a fingering weight sock yarn. And then it actually listed a number of brands that it might be. So I think they said Patton's Croy, Opal, um, there were a couple others. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And yeah, so I was very excited. So I ripped out, I had been like past the cuff and maybe 3 inches into the sock, that DK weight. And I thought that's not going to work because it would have been too tiny even for me. So I thought, okay, I ripped it out. And then I went searching on Ravelry for, again, new patterns because I don't want to repeat. And I found the Crazy Sock Lady Designs, and this Austin sock was a free pattern, and I liked the texture in it, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But I liked that, and so I thought, okay, that's the pattern I'm going to use. So it calls for fingering weight yarn, which I believe this to be, and it called for a US 1 2.25 millimeter. I was away at the time. I had a bunch of needles with me, and I was working on another project that I had finished, and then I wanted to start the socks, but I didn't have my 2.25 millimeter. I only had 2.5, so I thought, doesn't matter. I worked with 2.5 before for socks, and it works out fine. So I decided, yep, I'm just going to go ahead with it. And I went ahead and I posted, I think I finished the first sock and I posted on my Instagram page. And then one of my knitting buddies came back and said, great socks, Care, but could you tell us what the yarn is? And I said, actually, I can't because I did not know. I mean, I knew it was a sock yarn, but I didn't know. And so my friend said, oh, and I told her online, this is a knitting buddy of mine. I said, I searched it, I put it through AI. I know it's a sock yarn, but and it gave me these potential brands, but I didn't go any further. I thought good enough. So she said, oh, I'm like a dog with a bone. Off she went, and she came back and said, okay, I found it. It's Patton's Croy sock yarn. It is rag shade, and it's 55047 gray striped rag. Awesome. I was so happy. Thanks, Cheryl. That was amazing. And yeah, so she found the, the the yarn, which was great. Um, Such a great community. We're always helping each other. So let me tell you a little bit about this pattern. It is from cuff to toe, And it starts with a knit two, purl two ribbing. And I'm trying, I think 3 sizes, and I made the size small. So, and so I think it was 56 stitches that I cast on because these are for myself. And so I knit according to the number of inches she called, or number of rounds she called for the cuff. And after the cuff, you move into the leg and the body, and that's where you get that textured pattern repeat. And this textured pattern, I'm going to go really, really close. Hopefully it'll focus. I hold it still. And it's a 14 round repeat, but it's really easy to memorize because um, yeah, it's just, trust me, it's just so easy to memorize. I didn't have a problem at all. You could see it in your knitting. And then I just kept working on the leg exactly for the number of inches that she called for the leg. And I loved seeing the stripes come to life. And for those of you who know the Canadian Hudson Bay Company, they have closed actually, but this was kind of their coloring. And when I had posted this, another friend of mine, another knitting buddy, said, "Hey, Care, that looks like the Bay," which we would call Hudson Bay Company, the Bay. And yeah, it kind of does, but I really love it. So I loved seeing the stripes come alive. And then I moved along to the heel, and it is a heel flap and gusset knit, which I'm so used to. It was really easy to do. And then I continued on with the pattern just on the top, obviously, of the sock. I'm just going to slide it on my hand so you can see it. And yeah, so I moved along to get it to the point that it would fit for myself. And then you decreased at the toe and you get to a number of stitches, and depending on the size that you select, and you would Kitchener stitch to finish those stitches. And I hope you can see the pattern. It is really, I love the pattern. It's got lots of texture in it. I think it's going to look really cute. These socks are I think they're 75% wool and 25% polyamide or nylon. And I think they're going to look really cute with little boots in the fall. And I am using up the yarn that I have in my stash. And I think I only used 55 grams. I have small feet. So to make these, which is great, means I have some yarn left over to do pairs for other family or friends. So those are the Austin socks. You'll find the pattern on Ravelry. It is a crazy sock lady design. She has a fantastic YouTube podcast that she shares her designs on there as well. And yeah, so check it out on Ravelry if you want to make a fun pair of socks. Here are the Austin socks. Thanks for listening.